Hello, Steve White, Steve RC9. Well, we're all really focused on the whole Skydance Star Trek, Skydance Paramount merger because of how it affected Star Trek. But something we're not really looking at, because someone pointed this out and I realised, how is this not getting more attention? But some of these proposed mergers and some of these proposed buyouts, like Paramount buying Warner Brothers or Netflix buying Warner Brothers, they're going to be very problematic for free speech, because once upon a time there was this rule that a media company couldn't own more than 30% of the industry, to make sure that no one company would control the media and therefore control the voice and basically be a propaganda machine or sort of state TV. Well, some of these proposed mergers and things would actually head in that direction, and it looks as though the FCC is happy to turn a blind eye and disregard these rules to benefit, whether they benefit financially or their friends benefit financially, or whether their party and their movement benefits. But it's kind of terrifying to think that people like Rupert Murdoch could end up owning like the whole or the majority of the media industry, and that the minority and the smaller independent companies wouldn't be able to compete, and all we'd have is 24/7 MAGA propaganda state news all the time. It's just terrifying, because I know at the moment we've got the Fox News sort of style shows and networks and everything and streamers and everything that are basically totally right-wing, pandering to the right, just ignoring reality and truth and just telling people what they want to hear. And then we have the CNN, MSC, all those sort of companies sort of doing the opposite, where they're totally showing the left side of things, and they're not lying, but they're totally highlighting their side of things and their point of view and their perspective, and they're doing it for the same reason. They're just feeding their base. And you have this country's totally divided. That country, not this country, I know I'm not in America, but that country is so divided between those two groups, and the only way it almost works is that both sides are about the same and they've both got about the same amount of representation. But if that were to shift and one side were to get more, it could be really, really terrifying and a really bad situation. And unfortunately, like, the people who are supposed to, protect the American public from having this happen is the FCC, and they are totally in bed with Trump. They have no... as long as they can make money, as long as it makes money for their friends or benefits them politically, they have no problem with killing free speech. Look what they did to Jimmy Kimmel and all of that, and the threats to ABC. They're not even pretending. They're not doing things behind closed doors. They're doing it right on social media, right in the public, and it's just really terrifying, because what if they do eventually buy out all the other companies and we just have that one state-run, media in America? How damaging that would be. Just all the changes they've just made at the time, removing things and that's just working with their sort of side. Imagine if they had control of the whole thing. It's just terrifying. But I'm going to talk about that for a minute, because it's something that isn't being talked about much, and I didn't really even realise it was an issue. I was looking in terms of, I don't want the studio to die, I don't want Warner Brothers to go away, I sort of don't want all these studios that used to have their own individual voices, or be just one big studio with just one big mass of content and no diversity, no how's Warner Brothers film going to go up against Paramount's film, or how's Warner Brothers Tornado movie gonna go to Universal's, compared to that. We're not going to have that anymore. It's going to be one big conglomerate of product that we're supposed to consume, and that's it, and just all it's a worry, and I had to talk about it for a minute. I needed some YouTube therapy, and I did notice that not many people are talking about this. They're not aware that any of these things are an issue, or they're just trying to ignore it and avoid it because someone wants them to, because it serves them, to not have this pointed out, or this sort of safety net, sort of, there's checks and balances, to remain. So it's just kind of scary, the powers that be sort of pushing for these sort of things to happen, because it suits them, serves them, and how is it going to affect the rest of the world and the American people? It's really terrifying. But the implications are terrifying because nothing has happened yet, nothing is happening yet. It's just the talks and ideas that people sort of want to do. The idea that they might, come to fruition is kind of terrifying. And I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of, the idea of the FCC ignoring these rules that were put in place to stop monopolies, and the reality that these could be ignored and that all this could happen. I think it's absolutely possible. Not inevitable, but possible, and that shouldn't even be a possibility that we have to consider. And that's what is freaking me out. I'm just realizing this is something that could happen, something we never thought could happen, because there were guardrails and checks and balances, but all those went out the window with Trump getting back in for the second term. It's just a matter of how much damage can they do in 3.5 years. 4 years, but we're already 6 months in. They have done some damage, but how much more can they do? I don't know.